To kick off episode 4, we're going to go through all the transfers from season 4, starting off with Luca Romero. He has been allowed to go to the Middle East to join Al Fateh. A bid came in of around £15 million. He wasn't playing much. It was a no-brainer. We just decided to allow him to be moved straight on. The next player to leave was Filippo Mane. He's a player that I bought in season 1. Well, loaned in season 1, bought in season 2. I think we paid around £4 million for him. We got £20 million back, so it's a good profit. He's still developing as a player, but at least we didn't sell him to another Italian club. He has gone to Al Fayha. And the next player to go was Theo Hernandez. Again, Tottenham have kind of come in, disrupted a player, managed to buy the player. I don't know whether Tottenham are that type of club in the game. Maybe they have a lot of money to spend, but it's the second time they've come and bought one of my wing backs, which was a little bit disappointing. I wasn't particularly prepared to sell Hernandez. I think it was one that the money was there to have to take it because he become unsettled. Next up was Tijani Reinders. If you watched the previous episode, I did say that I wasn't playing him. He became disgruntled, got all of his mates to basically gang up on me and go and grass on me to the board. So as soon as this bid came in, I was so relieved to be able to show him the door because he wasn't playing football. And it was one of those where, yeah, we'll just take the cash and we'll reinvest it in the squad. So after those players left, we needed to start building again. And obviously, they keep telling me that there's a lack of quality beyond the first team. So we tried to add a few more players this time around. The first signing was Amar Dedic. Now, obviously, we have lost a couple of wing backs and we need a player who can play on both sides of the pitch. And Dedic is that player. He can play as a left back, play as a right back, can move forwards up the pitch. He's good at attacking, good at defending. It was a no-brainer. The next player to come in was Victor Gyökeres. Now, last year when FM24 was released, I managed Coventry and I sold Gyökeres. And I got told off in the comments section by somebody who said that I was criminally underrating him for the value that I got for him. Well, this time around, I have gone and bought him and I've paid £30 million for him from Sporting. So hopefully I'm not undervaluing him this time. He's going to go up top. He's going to try and get us some goals. He's not the only striker that we bought though, so there may be a case of a rotation in the first season. But I definitely have respected Gyökeres in this series. The next player we bought in was Kostas Tsimikas. Again, Hernandez had left quite late in the window, so we needed a replacement. Tsimikas was actually transfer listed for around £12.5 million. Made perfect sense. He's a player that obviously, being English, know from the Premier League, know that he's a decent player, can go forwards, can play as in advanced roles as well as being a left back. He's a good crosser of the ball, good dribbler, quite quick. He's a player that we just will snap into the left back position to replace Hernandez. We then went to Juventus and started raiding our own league. Now, once again, you need to sign Italian players so you can hit the squad registrations. And we were struggling a little bit for Italian players. So we went and bought Fabio Moretti, kind of destroyed Juventus because Moretti is a superstar in the making. And he goes in well with the likes of Lipani, Esugo and Wirtz in the middle of the park. So we now have a Wirtz, Moretti and Esugo trio, which is my absolute favourite thing so far in FM24. And the final player, and as I said, the other striker that we signed was Ivan Toney. Now, you may be sitting there thinking, what have you done? But I paid £55 million, I think, up front for Toney. It's going to come to £90 million in total. But this is a player that I think is criminally underrated on this game. If he was to play for a team like an Arsenal, a Chelsea, a Liverpool, a Manchester United or Manchester City, he would be an absolute world star, and I had no problems in paying the money and taking him to Italy. So those are the investments in the team that I've made. Were the investments worth it? How did we get on in Season 4 in terms of competitions? So starting off with the Supercoppa Italiana, where we played against Inter Milan in that, and we would go on and lift the trophy there. So a good start to the season. In the Coppa Italia, though, we were disappointing, and for the first time, I think, we've gone out in the third round. Now, it wasn't such a problem because obviously playing less games is not a bad thing, especially when you're putting a run together for the league and the Champions League. But the board were very upset that we didn't make the final stages of the competition. But we got drawn against Atalanta and we went out on penalties. Into the Champions League. Now, this is the one that I really, really want to win. I want to add to AC Milan's haul of Champions League trophies. We have come close. We finished runners-up last season. In the league phase this time, we managed to finish in 4th, and that meant that we had one less round to play in. But we played 8 games. We won 6. We drew 1, lost 1, had a goal difference of 20 this time. We finished on 19 points, which was just 3 behind Manchester United, who would win the league phase. So lucky for us, we skipped the playoff round straight into the round of 16, where we play against Ajax. We would beat them 4-2 on aggregate. In the quarterfinals, we would play Paris Saint-Germain. We would dismantle them 5-1 on aggregate after a 0-0 draw in the first leg. In the semi-finals, we would come up against Manchester United, who did us dirty last season. This time, we dispatched of them 3-1, which was the exact scoreline they beat us in last season's final. And this year, in the final, we would go on and win the Champions League. We would win it 3-2 in extra time against Red Bull Leipzig. Fantastic way to complete the collection of trophies that we were looking for in Season 4. So with the Champions League in the bag, the next thing to look for was the league title. And we would win it once again with 92 points. We would get 92 points from 38 games. And to break that down, 29 wins, 5 draws, 4 losses with a goal difference of 68. Finish on 92 points, which is miles clear of Inter once again. Napoli would finish in 3rd and Parma would finish in 4th. Now, looking at some of the stats here, you'll understand why I needed to go out and buy 2 strikers, because no striker of ours is finishing in the top 3 in terms of goals. And Joe Velic would win top goal scorer for Parma with just 22 goals. Chukwueze would be our top rated player with 7.37, and Mainan would keep 15 clean sheets. So even though it was disappointing in terms of some of the stats, to finish on 92 points and once again win Serie A is absolutely fantastic. So just to round it up, a Serie A win, a Champions League win, Supercoppa Italiana, a treble of sorts, double because I don't think the Italiana is that big of a deal. But it's completed the set that we wanted. We have now won all of the trophies available to us in Season 4, which is absolutely fantastic. A look at the finances going into Season 5 reveals that we have a transfer budget of just £16 million. Now, the outlay on the players to come in Season 4 really meant that we hit that budget really, really hard. As you can see by the overall balance, it's 117 million. It was previously 140, and we did spend a lot of money. We did recoup quite a bit, but we really did invest in the playing squad. And I think going into the final season, we now really have a strong squad, so there may not be too many more transfers coming in. In terms of the wage budget, 3.9 million. We have 3.4 that we are spending, so not too bad. It is creeping up all the time, which also negates the transfer budget. Looking into the club vision tab, we can see in terms of the actionable objectives, work within the wage budget is fine. Maintain the club's status as both biggest reputation in Italy and Europe, on course and reserving judgment. Maintain the club's status as the biggest team in the world now. So the board want us to go on better than Europe. They want to really stamp that authority on being the biggest team in the world. In terms of the 5-year plan, by the end of next season, they want us to reach the latter stages of the Champions League, win Serie A, and win a domestic cup. So all 3 of those are achievable. Champions League, would love to do back-to-back Champions Leagues. In terms of the board feedback, we get a B from the board. Strive to make progress on and off the pitch. Pleased with the Champions League final win against Leipzig. Pleased with the 2-2 draw against Cagliari. Not too sure why they're pleased about that. Wasn't a great game, but okay. And they were pleased with a 5-1 victory against Hellas Verona. Looking at the supporters' feedback, we get a B. So we've won the Champions League, we've won a double. Still can't get an A from the supporters. Don't know what we need to do. But overall, a B. Finish above Inter in the league, satisfied as always. finished above Juventus, and then they now want all of those reputable teams in Italy, Europe and the world also. So a good feedback. Our job security is still only secure. Don't know what we have to do to be untouchable in FM24, but we'll take it as we head towards Season 5. So as always, to wrap up these season reviews, we're going to look at the squad going into the final season of the save. Going to look at what I think is my best 11. We will then compare that with my assistant manager's best 11 and have a look at some strengths and weaknesses and see what we can improve for Season 5, if anything. So to kick us off, let's look at my best 11. Got my man in goal, as always. Tsimikas on the left, Tomori, Tior and Stanisic as a back four. I think that is solid. Even though we lost Hernandez, Tsimikas is a decent replacement. We've then got Asugo, Moretti and Wirtz. As I said, I love this trio as a midfield combination. They are absolutely fantastic. On the left we have Son, on the right we have Leao, and up top we have Ivan Toney. So let me just show you quickly Wirtz career stats for the season. He has played 34 games, scored 12 goals from the middle of the park, 10 assists, 2 Player of the Match awards, and a 7.04 average rating. Moretti was a later addition, but if we have a little look at him, 17 appearances, 4 goals, 5 assists, 1 Player of the Match award, and a 6.92. And then Asugo, he's been rotated in and out of the team with Lipani, but he played 30 times, 1 goal, 5 assists, 1 Player of the Match, and a 7.01. Son is still having a good influence on the team, moving left and right sides of the pitch. 17 games, 2 goals, 4 assists. Leao now switching to the right, but does also come back to the left. Had another solid season. 34 games, 9 goals, 9 assists, 6 Player of the Match awards. Once again, though, if we go into the injuries, you'll see that he has really started to pick up all of those little injuries and they are starting to accumulate. So maybe something to take into consideration for Season 5. And then finally, Ivan Toney. He came in, as I said, for £90 million. 55 of that was up front. 11 appearances, 5 goals and a 6.76 average rating. So not setting the world alight straight away. But I do think he will get better as he beds into this team and as he adapts to the way that we play football. So then let's go into the squad planner and, as always, look at the best 11 according to our assistant manager. So Mainan, Dedic, Tomori, Tior, Stanisic, Lipani, Moretti and Wirtz for him, Leao, Chukwueze and Okafor still. So don't agree with his striker selection. I do think Ivan Toney will be the one to go in there. Chukwueze could easily play in that position still. He's still a fine footballer who is rotating in with Son. Yeah, absolutely fine with that pick. Lipani and Asugo are pretty much two in the same. They could interchange into that position. The back four is okay. Dedic over Tsimikas is fine by me. If we go into the assistant report, goalkeeper depth, overall depth are still issues. I think Italy is a really difficult league to manage in because you need to have players who are trained at the club for 3 years. You need to have 8 homegrown players. You can only have a couple of non-EU slots a season, although they do keep resetting every season. But to get depth in the squad, you need to really be buying Italian players. You can't buy foreign players. So it is really difficult to fill your squad and fill it with depth. Some of the others, goals against, tackling, punching, aggression. In terms of strength, though, youth prospects with a number of those youth players from last season still at the club. Impressive level of creativity and vision. Dribbling is positive. Jumping reach, pace, flair, kicking, defensive depth. So there are some very good things, but we do have some weaknesses still. And I think working towards Season 5, we will go into that with a really, really good squad that will only get stronger. So once again, Season 4 is complete. Serie A, Champions League, Supercoppa Italiana. What an absolutely fantastic season. Right then, if you're still with me at this point of the video, firstly, a big thank you. Secondly, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the last part of this series. it's going to be a great conclusion to the series. I just have that feeling. But also, supporting the channel is fantastic. Watching it grow has been fantastic. Cannot say that word enough. Before you go, don't forget to check out the rest of the channel. There are other things. There are hints, tips, tutorials for FM24 and 23. There are Wonder Kid videos for 24. There are save ideas if you haven't picked a team to play as already. There are hints, tips, tutorials. There are lots of things on the channel for everybody. But for this one, I'm going to leave it there. Don't forget to come back and watch the conclusion of the Milan save soon.